Florida State goes to the Dome to play Syracuse. Georgia goes to Starkville. Be careful. Going to Starkville, going to the Cowbell to play Mike Leach and Mississippi State. Be careful, Georgia. LSU's got one of those games, too, against a wounded Arkansas team. Alabama, Ole Miss. It's another really good Saturday of college football. We'll certainly talk about all of that, NFL, NBA, little college hoops as well. We got it all for you over the next 2 hours. Here's what the guest lineup looks like. Coming up in about 20 minutes, one of the places we're actually going to start. So I'm watching ESPN this morning, as I tend to do from time to time. And Get Up is on, with Mike Greenberg and the cast of thousands that he has. And one of the favorite guys for me that they have on there is Chris Canty. Chris Canty, former NFL defensive lineman. Chris Canty does sports radio in New York, and he's now become a weekly guest on Get Up, usually on Wednesday or Thursday mornings. And they were talking about the 2021 quarterback draft class, the one Trevor Lawrence was a part of. And Chris Canty and Mike Greenberg both go on there today, and they say, you know what? Justin Fields was the best quarterback drafted in that draft class. Whoa! Do what? Justin Fields was the best quarterback drafted? So I remembered that I had a phone number for Chris Canty because I've had him on a couple of times through the years. I send out a text, and to Chris Canty's credit, less than 10 minutes later, he responded, said, yeah, I'd love to come on. So we're going to talk about that comment with Chris Canty of ESPN, former NFL defensive lineman. He thinks Justin Fields, clearly the best quarterback drafted in 2021, better than Trevor Lawrence. We'll have that conversation with Chris Canty here on Hacker After Dark coming up in about 20 minutes. Also, JP Shadrick, Jaguars.com, Jaguars Radio. He's set to join us in the 9 o'clock hour tonight. We will go to South Florida. What on earth is wrong with Mario Cristobal and the Miami Hurricanes? Coming off a 45-3 drubbing at the hands of Florida State. David Lake writes for InsideTheU.com. We'll go to South Florida in the 9 o'clock hour. And we'll also talk a little high school playoff football as well. I had a real cool opportunity to talk with Marty Lee, the head coach of First Coast High School. They did not think they were getting in as of last Friday. They beat Jackson, biggest win for them of the year, and they're heading to Orlando on Friday to take on Orlando Edgewater. So we got a lot going on. We're glad you're with us. We are jam-packed on a Wednesday night edition. Let's start it off as we always do with a big deal of the night here on Hacker After Dark and Dylan Denmark. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No big deal. It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
I want to get to the whole Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence thing in a moment. But last week at halftime of the Raider game, of course, the Jaguars came back and won that ball game. But at halftime marked the halfway point of the season. We are now past the halfway point. My Wolfson math tells me that. 17 games, you've played 9 of them, thus you are past the halfway point. But halftime of the Raider game was officially 50% down, 50% to go. So I thought what we would do is look at the offense through the first half of the Jaguar season tonight, and look at the defense through the first half of the Jaguar season tomorrow night. On the offensive side of the football, Trevor Lawrence in 9 games has thrown for 2,075 yards, 11 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and has completed 64% of his passes. Now, Jaguar fans, I ask you, if I were to tell you at the beginning of September through 9 games, Trevor Lawrence is on pace for a 4,000-yard season, Trevor Lawrence has thrown 5 more touchdowns than he has interceptions, and he has completed 64% of his passes, which would certainly be better than what he did last year. I think you would have taken that at the beginning of September. Obviously, those numbers have not translated into wins very often. as the Jaguars sit 3-6 on the year. But those aren't bad. 2,075 yards, on pace for over 4,100 yards passing. 11 touchdowns, 6 picks. What is that? You figure he's on pace now for 20, 21 touchdowns, 10 or 11 interceptions. I tell you, Trevor Lawrence is a 4,000-yard passer with 21 touchdowns and 10 picks at the beginning of September. I bet you would have taken that. How we got here has been odd. That obviously doesn't take into account 4 fumbles in Philadelphia. But based on the raw numbers, Trevor Lawrence, clearly, night and day, 180 degrees difference, statistically, than where he was through 9 games last year. Travis Etienne, 5th in the NFL in rushing, 680 yards. He is on pace for over 1,150 yards rushing this year. Travis Etienne has found the end zone 4 times. He's averaging 5.7 yards per carry. 5.7. That won't last. But good gracious, that's really good. Heck, even if that comes down by a full yard, yard and a half, if you average 4+ yards a carry, it's darn good in the NFL. And right now, Etienne on 120 carries is averaging 5.7. The problem at the running back position is now that James Robinson is gone, traded to the Jets, you have nothing else. 3rd leading rusher on the team is Trevor Lawrence with 152 yards on the ground. JaMycal Hasty then with 88. Keep in mind, 61 of that was on one play. And then Jamal Agnew with 29. So Travis Etienne at 680. Trevor Lawrence, 152. JaMycal Hasty, 88. They better hope, they being the Jaguars, better hope that Travis Etienne stays healthy. Because if something happens to him, that would not be a good situation. But if he does stay healthy, you're going to have a 1,200-yard rusher. 1,150-yard rusher. That's what he's on pace for. He's been nothing short of fantastic through the first 9 games of the year. All the money that was spent on Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, and Evan Ingram this offseason, they are your 3 leading receivers on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Christian Kirk, 43 catches, 574 yards, and 5 touchdowns. You average that out, if that pace continues, you're talking 80 grabs for Christian Kirk, 1,100 yards, 10 scores. If that happens, probably worth the money at that point, right? 80 catches, 1,100 yards, 10 touchdowns. I don't believe that'll happen, but that's what he's on pace for right now. Zay Jones, your 2nd leading receiver, 39 grabs, 349 yards, and a score. And then you get to Evan Ingram, 33 grabs, 338 yards, and a score. Combined, Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, and Evan Ingram, you're talking roughly 1,200 yards receiving. You're talking roughly 115 catches and 7 touchdowns. Paid a lot of money for those 3 guys, but they're producing. I got no problem with that at all. Calvin Ridley gets added into that fold next year. You could potentially have something pretty good. Now remember, you got to re-sign Evan Ingram. He's a free agent. He did a 1-year prove-it deal. When's the last time a Jaguar tight end had 33 catches through 9 games? When's the last time a Jaguar tight end here in the city of Jacksonville was on pace for 60 catches? My gosh. Probably what, Mercedes Lewis maybe? Is that how far back you have to go? Long time. Marvin Jones, by the way, is your 4th leading receiver. 27 catches, 313 yards. And then you get to Travis Etienne, Dan Arnold, Jamal Agnew. But the 3 free agents you paid, the 3 guys that you brought in here, are your 3 leading receivers. Can't be bust if you're one of the 3 leading receivers on the team. And that's where Kirk, Zay Jones, and Evan Ingram are, a little bit past the halfway point. And then finally, the offensive line, that's kind of hard to gauge. I think Cam Robinson and Jawan Taylor have been accurate through the first half of the year. Adequate, I guess. Are they great? Are they going to make a Pro Bowl this year? No. Have they been dreadful? No. Probably somewhere in the middle, although maybe that's not fair. Maybe they've been better or closer to adequate to above average than they have been dreadful. I don't think they've been dreadful or bad. They've had bad moments, but you take everything they've done in totality, I think your offensive tackles have been all right. I think Brandon Scherff's been worth the money. Clearly your best offensive lineman. And look, Luke Fortner for a rookie, I think he's doing fine. I got no problem with Luke Fortner. Half the time, I don't even notice him. It means he's probably doing his job. Of course, the only season-ending injury to this point was Ben Bartch. You lost him in, week 4, I believe, in Philadelphia. Tyler Shatley's come in. Have you even noticed Shatley at all? A couple of times a game, maybe. Means Shatley's probably doing his job a majority of the time. I know the wins have not come as frequently as you, the Jaguar fan, we, the Jaguar media, would have liked. There have been some heartbreak there. Indianapolis up there in Indy. Denver and London. The Giants here. Washington on opening day. Some of those losses sucked. There is no question about that. We're just awful. But, again, you look at the numbers. With ETN, top 5 rusher in the league. Kirk is on pace for 1,000 yards. Trevor's on pace for 4,000 yards passing. Doing some nice things on offense. They're doing some nice things. That gets me to Trevor Lawrence. And the conversation they had earlier today on ESPN, Mike Greenberg and Chris Canty, about the 2021 quarterback draft class. Again, Chris Canty of ESPN will join me in less than 10 minutes, and I'll let him tell you why he said what he said today on Get Up this morning on ESPN. He said Justin Fields is the best quarterback that was drafted in the 2021 draft. I was pretty candid with Chris Canty. I told him I did not agree with him. But I appreciated him coming on, man. A lot of these guys, former players, media members, they'll say something. And then when somebody like me from that market tries to get in touch with them, they won't answer or won't return your call. Canty texted me back in 10 minutes. Said, yeah, I'd love to come on and tell the city of Jacksonville why I think Justin Fields is better than Trevor Lawrence. You know, you pull up Justin Fields' numbers. He does not have much to work with. There is no question that the Jaguar wide receiver room, not great, not above average, but it is certainly better than what they have in Chicago. It's not even close. I know Chicago just added Chase Claypool, but my goodness, other than Darnell Mooney, they have had basically nothing through the first 2 months of the year. You look at Justin Fields' numbers so far. Justin Fields is only completing 59% of his passes. Trevor is at 64%. Justin Fields has only thrown for 1,300 yards. Trevor Lawrence has thrown for over 2,000. They both have 6 interceptions. Trevor's got 1 more touchdown. To Fields' credit, he has really come on in the last couple of weeks. I think he's got something like 6 touchdowns and only 1 pick in the last few games. And, oh, by the way, Justin Fields also has 602 yards rushing. 602 yards for a quarterback. That puts him among the top 10 rushers in the National Football League. If you want to sit there and tell me Justin Fields is the better athlete between he and Trevor Lawrence, there might be a conversation there. If you want to sit there and tell me Justin Fields, with the additions they're making in Chicago, is having more success, maybe. Winning more games, all right, they certainly got off to a better start. But to sit there and say Fields is the best quarterback that was drafted in 2021, no, he wasn't. I do not agree with that. In the words of the great Jeffrey Lebowski, that's just like your opinion, man. Absolutely disagree with it. But I enjoy the conversation. That's what makes the world go round. That's what makes sports talk what it is. Somebody says something you don't agree with, they're willing to come on, talk with you about it. I love it. And we'll do it next. Chris Canty, former NFL defensive lineman. You see him on Get Up, on ESPN. He's usually on there 1 or 2 mornings a week. He was on there this morning. He said flat out, Justin Fields, better quarterback than Trevor Lawrence. All right, come on, Jacksonville. We'll talk about it. And he's going to come on next. Hacker After Dark on a Wednesday. Chris Canty of ESPN next here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Back in the glory days, he wore number 56.
Hindsight's always 20/20.
Check the tape Tuesday with Jeff Lageman. Tuesdays during football season on Jaguars Today. Brought to you by Famous Automotive Tire and Quick Lube. Treating every customer like they're famous.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Multi-unit hair grafting is now available at IHRS and can give you 3 times more hair in one procedure over a traditional hair transplant.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
You can grow your hair back with this exclusive new procedure. Call for a free evaluation. Call IHRS 904-777-IHRS 777-IHRS 777-4477.
Okay, can I have everybody's attention for just a second?
Morgan's media planning firm just landed a multi-million-dollar client.
Because we won the pitch.
She needs to staff up before trafficking hits a traffic jam.
So we're going to need research, planning, buying, obviously, and probably data analytics.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hacker here. Y'all know I like food, and so I love the new Buteco Sports Bar and Grill on Belfort Road. Try some of your lunch and dinner favorites with a Brazilian flair, and bring the whole family to Buteco, your neighborhood bar on Belfort Road.
Look around you. There's history being made. Has been. Will be. Just something about those blue skies, high banks and high speed, all coming together in one perfect race. And it'll be here sooner than you think. The Daytona 500 at Daytona International Speedway, February 19th, 2023. Get your tickets now at DayTona500.com.
Expert Automotive, Jacksonville's only automotive repair shop, where every car we work on gets a lifetime repair warranty. Never pay for service again once it's fixed. Winter travel is around the corner, and now is the time to get your winterization. Do you still have AC issues? Freon prices are falling, and we can save you money. At Expert Automotive, we service all makes and models. Call 374-3373 today to schedule your appointment. Expert Automotive. We never sell greed, only what you need.
Concrete floors don't have to be ugly and hard to clean. Whether it's a garage with cracks, tire marks, and failed epoxy, or any concrete surface that isn't beautiful and maintenance-free, Shark Coatings will transform it. Our coating and warranty are stronger, more durable, and longer lasting than any other on the market. And because Shark Coatings is 100% UV stable for life, it's perfect for any concrete surface outside as well. Shark Coatings will let you reclaim those wasted hours spent pressure washing your driveway, patios, and walkways. Hit us up on social media or call 904-519-5055 to set up your free estimate today.
I'm Jeff Middlecoff with Trustline Mortgage, along with my business partners, Alan Tyre, Bill Pappas, and Ken Rimley, have been in business for 32 years. We've seen some incredible mortgage markets. Many of our clients took advantage of these markets to refinance their properties. They lowered their payments, took cash out for college tuition, did renovations, shortened their terms, got rid of their mortgage insurance, even consolidated their debts into one easy small payment. Well, that opportunity is here again right now for you. These rates are extremely low. However, the market is starting to move in a different direction. In Inflation, as you know, is already here. Look at the cost of gas, milk, lumber. Don't miss out because you put it off and didn't call. No one wants to hear years from now, I shoulda, I coulda, I woulda. Be a person that gets things done. Call Trustline Mortgage now at 381-LOAN. I'm serious. Call 381-LOAN now while it's fresh on your mind, or visit our website at trustlinemortgage.com. Trust your instincts and follow the line to Trustline Mortgage.
Certain restrictions apply. See office for details. Trustline is an equal housing lender. NMLS number 331480.
Are you sick and tired of living with constant pain in your knees and back? You know, joint pain doesn't just keep you from doing things that you love. It affects your job, relationships, even simple things like getting dressed. Leon Searcy here. It's time to call QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics uses advanced regenerative medicine to restore and repair damaged tissues, giving you new life. Hips, shoulders, elbows. They can all be treated with natural biologics from your own body. Powerful healing agents, highly concentrated. If you're tired of steroid shots that don't work, or if you're trying to avoid surgery, call QC Kinetics now to schedule your free consultation. Learn about these exciting new cutting-edge treatments for pain caused by arthritis or injury. No drugs, no pain meds, no downtime. This is an all-natural treatment that can get you lasting relief. People here are raving about the results. Call now. Appointments are available for this coming week. Call QC Kinetics 904-274-5522. With locations in Mandarin and Ponte Vedra. 904-274-5522.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On November 9, 1996, Evander Holyfield upsets Mike Tyson in 11th round knockout to regain heavyweight boxing title, second boxer after Ali to win 3 times.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL. Now,
hello.
Another great guest on the Farah and Farah phone line. Brought to you by the accident attorneys at Farah and Farah.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We're glad you're with us. The Jaguars and the Chiefs, Sunday, 1 o'clock. You'll hear the game right here on 1010XL Radio. One of my favorite programs on the ESPN family of networks is Get Up and First Take, and a man you see on a lot of those programs throughout later in the week is former NFL defensive lineman Chris Canty. He was actually on there this morning, and he joins us here on 1010XL. Chris, how we doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Ryan. How about yourself?
Hey, Chris, we're good, man. Always appreciate the time, and you and I were texting back and forth earlier. You guys, earlier today on ESPN, you and Mike Greenberg and the crew there on Get Up, we're having a conversation about the 2021 quarterback draft class and doing a little compare and contrast, I guess, with Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence. I'll take it, or I'll let you take it from there, but certainly what you said got the attention of some people here in Jacksonville this morning, Chris.
Well, I'm sure it would, because Trevor Lawrence was the first overall pick, and Justin Fields, correct me if I'm wrong, went 11th in that draft, and he was the 4th quarterback taken in the first round. So, you would expect that Trevor Lawrence would be the one that would, I guess, develop out of all the other quarterbacks sooner rather than later. And it just hasn't worked out that way, even with Doug Peterson, an adult as the head coach in the room. You've heard some of the criticisms that Doug has had for T-Law this season, how he needs to be aggressive in taking shots downfield, does need to cut down on some of the mistakes, some of the turnovers, because it's cost them the opportunity to win a couple of ball games here. But I think overall, when you look at the ability to be a force multiplier, we've seen that more consistently throughout the last month or so in the NFL season from Justin Fields as opposed to Trevor Lawrence. And that's why I'm bullish on the ceiling for Justin Fields more so than Trevor Lawrence.
And for people that missed it, you did say that Justin Fields, in your opinion, and I want to say Mike Greenberg even agreed with you, was the best quarterback taken in the 2021 draft. And we'll get to Trevor in a moment. But as far as Fields goes, again, outside point of view from us here in Jacksonville, we know the struggles that he had. Clearly he's getting better. But, Chris, what have you seen in the last month to lead you to believe that Fields is the best quarterback from that draft class?
Well, in the last 3 weeks, he's had the highest QBR in the NFL, and he's third in passing touchdowns with 6. So, the sample size is small, But the little wrinkle that offensive coordinator Luke Getsy has showed with the design runs has built Justin Fields' confidence, not just as a runner, but also as a thrower. And some of the plays that we've seen him make, particularly the throw that he made to Darnell Mooney in the corner of the end zone against the Miami Dolphins, that's a big boy throw. He had to put a little bit of touch on it. We know he's got the fastball, but that was, an off-speed pitch, so to speak, to use a baseball term. And it was just an outstanding play. And then the 61-yard touchdown run. I don't know how many quarterbacks in our league can make a play like that. Maybe Lamar Jackson, maybe Jalen Hurts, but when Justin Fields tucks the ball to take off, he doesn't look like a quarterback running the ball. He looks like a running back. And I haven't been able to say that about anybody in the National Football League this season. So it's a special talent. There's a huge ceiling. And I think that you're just seeing Justin Fields scratch the surface on his potential. And so as he gets more familiar with the offense, the system that they're putting in place, and as Matt Eberflus, the new head coach, establishes a culture, I think this is going to be, the launching pad for Justin Fields this second half of the NFL season, going into an offseason where Chicago has over $100 million in cap space to spend.
Chris Canty was a terrific defensive lineman in the National Football League. You now see him on the ESPN family of networks. He's with us here on 1010XL. Chris, you alluded to it earlier. We've obviously talked about it ad nauseum over the last, 9 months, I guess now. Trevor Lawrence is technically in year 2, right? That's what it says on his resume. That's what it'll say when you look at his stat sheet. But I think you know as well as anybody from your playing days, last year was a disaster here in Jacksonville. So do you almost look at this as Trevor's rookie year?
It feels like it, doesn't it? And that's, that's no fault of his own. Shad Khan, the Jaguars brass, they were the ones that made the decision to hire Urban Meyer, even though it's been scandal after scandal that's forced him out of different college programs. I'm not sure why anybody thought it would be any different going to the Jacksonville Jaguars, but you saw more of the same. And unfortunately, it left you in a situation where your second-year quarterback, who should be ascending, has been, I guess, flat in terms of his overall development. Now, they've put some playmakers around him. I think Travis Etienne coming back healthy has been huge for this team. This guy is an animal when it comes to just production on the ground. And I think he showed the ability to be the workhorse in the last game, carrying the ball 28 times. So I think there are some things to like in Jacksonville. I love the addition of Christian Kirk. That's paid dividends. So there are pieces there that you like. The offensive line has been better than expected. But again, I think there's still a lot of learning that's happening with Trevor Lawrence, and it is a new system that he's learning. So again, there's a curve that's associated with that. Some players get it quicker than others, but I certainly didn't look at this season as the year where Trevor Lawrence would be right in the middle of the pack when it comes to overall QBR midway through the year.
Chris, there's a saying going on down here in Jacksonville, lose big, meaning you get blown out, get better, and then you lose small, and the Jaguars have mastered that, 6 losses by 8 points or less. But then you get over that hump and you start winning small, and they finally did that on Sunday, winning a game in the fourth quarter, beating the Raiders, and then ultimately you start winning big, like the Chiefs, the Bills, etc. Do you buy that line of thinking, lose big, lose small, win big?
It's a steady progression. I don't know that it happens like that in the NFL, because sometimes when it clicks in place for a team, they jump from losing small to winning big. It doesn't necessarily have to be as incremental, as literal as you laid it out. Look at the Seattle Seahawks. Nobody expected to see what we saw from them and Geno Smith in particular this year. So that was a team that's pretty much traded Russell Wilson and took that and ran with it. So I don't necessarily know if I subscribe to that. I will say this. You're looking for your team to be able to form an identity. And right now, I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are still somewhat searching for that. The one thing that I would like to see the offense do, because they have a ton of talent, is stop beating themselves. The self-inflicted wounds have got to stop in Jacksonville. The turnovers are just ridiculous. You're talking about going, 6 straight games with having turnovers, and in 3 of those games having multiple turnovers. That's unacceptable. You can't do that. It's hard to win in this league, and I think that was a big part of why they went on a 5-game skid. So protecting the football has got to be job one for Trevor Lawrence and that offensive side of the ball. And I think if they do that, you'll start seeing better results when it comes to the win-loss column.
Final moments here with Chris Canty. He was a longtime defensive lineman in the National Football League. You now see him on the ESPN family of networks. Chris, I got to ask you, from your time as a defensive end, we got two young bulls here in Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker, although unfortunately they're not putting up the sack numbers that we'd like to see here in Jacksonville. What is your thought on both Walker and Allen moving forward?
Oh, those guys can get after it, man. And sometimes it's not just about the sacks. It's about the pressures, the quarterback hits. And they've done a good job of being able to do that, and I expect them to get better as they continue to get chemistry. And a lot of people, when I say chemistry when it comes to pass rushers, don't really understand what I mean. But the pass rushers, the guys that are getting after the quarterback up front, have to work in tandem. They have to be in concert because you can't open up huge lanes for the quarterback to step up and escape or to step up and buy time for receivers to uncover downfield. So that's one of the things that we have to continue to look for those guys to improve on. But I'll say this, Ryan, you're talking about a defense that's fifth in pass rush win rate. So it's pretty good from the standpoint of getting consistent wins. Eventually getting the quarterback on the ground will come. So everybody in Jacksonville, just be patient. It's coming. The guys are winning their one-on-one rushes, and it's evident on the tape. We're hoping that translates into the sacks. And I think with those two guys spearheading the pass rush, it absolutely will. I feel great I'm glad that the Jacksonville Jaguars didn't seriously entertain trading Josh Allen because I think he's a really, really special talent. And in order to have success in the AFC, you're going to have to be able to get after opposing quarterbacks. You got to go against Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Pat Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow. You got to have guys that can get the quarterback on the ground. Those two dudes have shown that they'll be able to get that done.
Hey, Chris, final question for you. Speaking of Pat Mahomes, that's the Jaguars Challenge on Sunday. They go to Arrowhead. Tall order, they're a 10-point dog. What's your thought on Kansas City this year, and what chance, if any, do you give the Jaguars on Sunday?
Well, listen, I think that the Tennessee Titans laid it out for you, right? That is the formula for success. You try to slow the game down with the run game. That Kansas City defense has shown that they're susceptible to that. So I think that has to be the focus. We're going to make the game physical. We're going to take it to fight to them. Tennessee didn't flinch. And you saw early in that game on Sunday night, the Titans made it real chippy. And that took Kansas City out of their character a little bit. They got too involved in the post-play shenanigans and not focused on executing at a really high level. Now, that's a signature of Mike Vrabel coach teams, but the Jaguars are going to have to find some of that in their DNA if they plan on going into Arrowhead and getting the win. So I think you got to be aggressive, take the fight to them, run the football with authority, which the Jaguars have shown at times to be able to do. I think that gives you a really good shot at being able to take care of your business on the road.
Hey, Chris, I told you this earlier, man. Really enjoy your work on Get Up, and happy early birthday, I heard, right? Tomorrow, the big 4-0, man. So happy birthday, my friend.
Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate it.
Chris Canty, always appreciate it, brother. We'll talk soon.
All right, later on.
There you go, Chris Canty. Hey, I appreciate him coming on. He said something this morning that I didn't agree with. I don't think that Justin Fields is a better quarterback than Trevor Lawrence. Translation, I do not feel that Justin Fields is the best quarterback that was drafted in the 2021 NFL draft. I would still gladly put Trevor Lawrence in that slot. But what I like about Chris Canty, it's not the first time I've had him on in regards to something that he said, is he'll come on. A lot of these guys on ESPN or NFL Network, whatever, they'll say something, I'll contact them, Jaguar-related, and either they won't respond or whatever. Nah, Chris came on. We had a good conversation, and it's okay to disagree. That's what makes the world go round, right? You can have a nice conversation. Now, particularly we're past the midterms, right? You can have a nice conversation with somebody, no name calling, and you say your piece, I say my piece, and we move on. But no, I would absolutely take Trevor Lawrence over Justin Fields. Better athlete? Okay. I think maybe there's a conversation there, like we talked about a little earlier, but better quarterback? Absolutely not. Trevor Lawrence completing 64% of his passes, Justin Fields 59%. Justin Fields has only thrown for 1,300 yards. Trevor Lawrence has thrown for over 2,000 yards. They have the same number of interceptions. I think Lawrence has one more touchdown, but I do not think Fields is a better quarterback than Trevor Lawrence. But certainly do appreciate Chris Canty coming on. If you want to respond to that, you're more than welcome to do so on the phone line or on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, 641-1010. That is both the phone number and the text line number, 641-1010. As we go to a commercial break, we're going to come back on the other side. We're going to get into the world of college football. I want to talk Billy Napier. I want to talk Mario Cristobal. Two guys winding down year number one. Compare and contrast Napier and Cristobal, 9 games in to their brand new jobs in both Gainesville and Coral Gables. But before we do that, speaking of Gainesville, Florida, the golden era of Gator basketball. Todd Golden, they got off to a good start earlier this week against Stony Brook. Big emotional win against Stony Brook. They got another game Friday night. Kennesaw State is the opponent. If you want to go down to Gainesville and see Florida basketball against Kennesaw State, simply be caller number 4 right now at 641-1010, and Dylan Denmark will hook you up with a pair of tickets to the Gators and Kennesaw State on the hardwood this Friday night down in Gainesville.
Nobody panicked when we got in that hole early.
To give to Etienne, toward the goal line, touchdown!
Playing loose, just being yourself.
Trevor fires right corner of the end zone, caught for the touchdown!
Battle through the adversity was awesome.
This is Etienne, inside the 5, into the end zone!
He's going to be the guy.
And Jacksonville has taken the lead!
It's great to see our team finish.
The ball is going to be picked off in the air by Devin Lloyd. That's going to close out the ball game.
This was a great team win.
When you flip that momentum and keep it like we were able to do today,
it's something now that we can build upon.
Hopefully ride this momentum and use this juice this week. Obviously, we got a big game in Kansas City.
Sunday at 1 on 1010XL, home of the Jaguars.
Why does everyone seem to hesitate to buy a used car these days? Probably because the warranties stink. Well, we only offer the best cars that can pass our 160-point inspection and qualify for the Beaver Certified program with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. You mean just Chevys and Toyotas, right? Nope, all of them. Nissans? Yep. Fords? That's right. Hondas? You bet. What about all of them? And if you want to see all of them, come see us at Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville.
Exit is now United Real Estate Gallery. Same leadership, new name. Expect the same great services for buyers and sellers. How about this? 100% compensation plans available for real estate agents. You deserve more? Find your freedom with United. Exit is now United Real Estate Gallery. Pretty incredible. Join UnitedGallery.com to learn more about a career in real estate.
Friday is Veterans Day, and we'll be honoring veterans from 3 to 7 at Strings Sports Brewery with a free barbecue sandwich, side, and a beer for all veterans. Thanks to our friends at the Northeast Florida Firewatch Council, which was created to address veteran suicide prevention in Northeast Florida, and the Cohen Clinic at Centerstone that offers outpatient mental health for post-9/11 veterans and military families. So come on out to Strings on Friday from 3 to 7 and support veterans and military families in our community.
Hacker here from my friends at Xfinity. Look, have you recently switched to 5G home internet and are currently suffering from 5G home internet issues? Maybe you're experiencing internet that's much slower at busier times of the day. Look, you're not alone. Switch to Xfinity Internet today with 3 times more bandwidth, supersonic speeds, and reliable connections you can count on. Xfinity gives you internet that works the way it's supposed to. All you have to do is take that first step. Learn more about the next generation Wi-Fi from Xfinity or get started with 400 megabit per second internet for $55 a month for 12 months with no annual contract required, with unlimited data included for 12 months. This terrific offer does require paperless billing and auto pay with a stored bank account. Offer expires November 20th. Restrictions apply. New fast internet and XFi Complete customers only. Go to Xfinity.com/TMOFax or call 1-800-XFINITY.
The Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute is now offering online scheduling for new patient appointments for all of their physicians. Simply schedule your appointment on your cell phone, tablet, or desktop. JOI is the first orthopedic practice in North Florida to offer this feature to patients. To schedule your appointment online, visit joi.net and click on the button at the top of the page. If you'll be using insurance, be sure and have your information handy. JOI, where the pros go.
Need cash for the holidays or to pay off credit cards right now? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. Prosser here. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low rate. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days, and a $50,000 loan will only cost you around $300 a month. Use that money to pay off high-interest credit cards or consolidate other debt or even start a home improvement project. With Loan Pronto, you can access up to 95% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need an appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Do it now before the holidays. Call Loan Pronto at 904-999-1508. 904-999-1508. You could use that extra cash for the holidays, and you can get it with Loan Pronto. Also visit loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Attention sports fans, your favorite sportsbook, BetUS.com, is back for our 28th year of NFL action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers our members the chance to cash in on all of your favorite leagues, including the NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. We've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest European slots, and our live dealers are waiting for you at the tables. Sign up at BetUS.com or call 1-800-79-BETUS and get into the action. Don't forget to mention promo code RADIO. BetUS, where the game begins.
Find your why in your next career move at the First Coast YMCA. Everyone can get involved and make a difference in your community at the Y. And if you'd like to turn your passion into a fulfilling career, the Y is an equal opportunity employer and is now hiring youth program leaders, lifeguards, swim instructors, and more. Plus, Y staff enjoy benefits including free YMCA membership and free childcare while you work. Find your passion, find your why in a career at fcymca.org.
The Northeast Florida Safety Council has been keeping Jacksonville safe for 80 years. I'm Carrie Kaufman, the EHS Operations Manager at the Safety Council. Join us December 15th at the Garden Club as we celebrate our anniversary and recognize our achievements in keeping our community safe and healthy. We provide safety services your organization needs to take the worry out of compliance. For more information, including how you can be a sponsor of our 80th celebration, visit nefsc.org.
Hello, Jacksonville. This is Greg McGarity, President and CEO of Gator Bowl Sports. The TaxSlayer Gator Bowl game and events have been a Jacksonville staple for more than 75 years. We support more than 4,200 local youth annually through Gator Bowl charities. Gator Bowl Sports is a perfect way for local companies and individuals to get involved. We'd love to meet with you and talk about how you can join our team. If you'd like to learn more, contact us at 798-1700, 798-1700.
Jeff Lageman, Kevin Faber, and Kirk Waltz bring you into the outdoors.
We've got 3 big bucks.
On the Nimnicht Outdoor Show, presented by Duck Duck Rooter, 7 to 10 every Saturday morning on 1010XL. This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. Glad you're with us. Wednesday night edition of Hacker After Dark. All right, so that commercial, which I love, what is it, one of the insurance companies has those commercials about turning into your parents, right? We've all seen those. Denmark, you're a really young guy, so I'm curious your perspective, but I am 39 years old right now, and I just never, ever complain at restaurants when there's bad service, all right? I just don't do it. I've seen too many people do it, relatives of mine, older relatives of mine through the years, even some of my friends, perhaps my in-laws, you know, and it's never been my thing. Never, ever do I do it.
Yeah, you just don't go back.
Because I don't know, A, what they're going to do in the back with the food if you do complain. I've seen Road Trip too many times. So that's one of my concerns. And the other is I just think it's kind of rude to make a scene. But as I find as I'm getting older, I think it's because I have a son now, so I can kind of see, what my parents saw or what my in-laws saw, the older generation. I find that I get a little more agitated at public places when things don't go my way. And I'm just curious if that is something that people can relate to in their mid to late 30s or early 40s. Like, last night's a prime example of this. Before I came in to do the show last night, we took the young man bowling. He's developing a love for bowling. 3-year-old bowler, man, he gets after it. They have the little ramp where you push the ball down, and he loves it. So then we went out to dinner, and the food was great. I'm not going to mention the establishment because that's not fair. But the food was great. But when we got there, Denmark, I had to wait 9 minutes and 18 seconds to get a Coke.
That's ridiculous.
And the reason I know that is because I started my stopwatch after it was apparent that I was going to have to wait a while to get a Coke. So as I'm sitting there and the 9 minutes and 18 seconds are ticking by, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, I never complain, ever. 20, 25, 30, 35 years of age. I just have never done it. But as I am continuously getting older, now almost 40, I'll be 40 in less than a calendar year, I found myself getting very pissed that I did not have a Coke in my hand before 9 minutes and 18 seconds. I didn't say anything. I just kind of let bygones be bygones. But I'm curious, you, a young strapping lad at the age of 24, I remember those days. Are you a complainer, or are you like me, you just don't do it?
No, I don't complain at all. It's funny you say that. I have a buddy, when we go out to eat, and nobody gets our drink within the first 2 minutes, he's like, all right, they're on a timer. And he'll put them on a 4 or 5 minute timer. And if they don't come get our drinks by then that 4 to 5 minute marker, we just get up and leave.
Wow.
But
wow.
Yeah, I'm usually pretty patient. I never outburst. I don't like attention. I really don't like people, so I'm never really out much. So yeah, that's me.
Talk to me in 15 years when you're 39.
Oh, I don't have patience now.
Yeah.
But I mean, it all depends.
Like I said, I've never, ever been that guy. I normally don't like that guy. I've even gotten to the point on social media, because I do a lot of voice tweeting, right? I just don't feel like typing everything out, so I'll just put the phone up to my face and say whatever I'm thinking and tweet it out. And sometimes it'll misspell a word or whatever, and I'll have people correct me in quote tweets, and I hate that. I hate that. And I've always said, don't be that guy. Nobody likes that guy that does that. And now I find myself, when somebody misspells a word on Twitter, thinking, I wonder if I should tell them they misspelled that word. Getting old is tough, man. Getting old is tough. I'm already the oldest 39-year-old on the planet. I'll try to keep my emotions in check next time it takes me 9 minutes and 18 seconds to get a refreshing beverage at a local establishment. All right, year number 1 for Billy Napier in Gainesville and for Mario Cristobal in South Florida. Both guys 9 games in. Both guys 3 games to go in the regular season. They're only separated by 1 game, right? Florida is at 5-4. Miami is at 4-5. But why does it feel so much bigger than that? Why does it feel like Billy Napier has his program going with the arrow pointing up, and why Mario Cristobal and the Canes seem to be going straight down? Miami's lost 4 consecutive games at home. Miami lost to Middle Tennessee at home, to Duke at home, and they just lost by 42 points to their arch rival in Florida State. Florida has had a lot of losses this year too. But they had a ball in the air at the end of regulation that could have beat Tennessee. They were right there with LSU, now the number 7 team in the country, with 2 minutes to go. Midway through the third quarter against the number 1 team in the country here in Jacksonville, Florida trailed 28-20. It seems like the Gators and their players, whether you call it buy-in, whether you call it work ethic, lack of better terminology, whether you want to call it playing for your coach, doesn't it seem like Florida just is playing harder than Miami? Certainly does to me. We're going to go to South Florida in the 9 o'clock hour. David Lake does a great job covering the Hurricanes for InsideTheU.com. Covers them every day. Wait till you hear what he told me. For starters, he doesn't think Miami's going to win another game. And I did a double take when he told me that, and I'll let him explain it more. I said, what do you mean they're not going to win another game? They played Georgia Tech this week. Georgia Tech's awful. Now they have Clemson and Pitt after that, so okay, they might lose those, but they're not going to lose to Georgia Tech. This is a guy that covers the Canes every day. It's his job. He covers the University of Miami. Wait till you hear what he told me about why he thinks Miami is going to lose their 3 remaining games. It was eye-opening for me. Miami fan, are you still happy about Mario? Year 1. Good recruiting class, although I will tell you, be careful about that quarterback out in California. Rashada. With Miami's struggles on offense, and those Pac-12 teams like USC, UCLA, Oregon, much closer to home for him, putting up all of those points, be careful about losing that quarterback in the next couple of weeks. Because if you lose that quarterback, oh boy, that could get real bad. Real bad. Miami and Georgia Tech this week. Florida plays South Carolina. Florida 1 win away from becoming bowl eligible. I think the Gators have a battle on their hands too. South Carolina's a bizarre team. Bizarre team. They'll get just absolutely destroyed by Georgia and inexplicably lose to Missouri. But then they'll also go into Lexington and beat Kentucky. So who really knows what South Carolina team Florida's going to get on Saturday? But it's a South Carolina team with a better record, right? South Carolina comes in at 6-3. Florida comes in at 5-4. Be very curious to see if the Gators can back up what they did in the second half in College Station last week, put it together again on Saturday against the Gamecocks. You also have Georgia going to Mississippi State. You got Florida State going to the Dome to play Syracuse. Ole Miss, Alabama. Arkansas, LSU. Good weekend. Good weekend of college football. And we'll go down to South Florida again in the 9 o'clock hour. David Lake, InsideTheU.com. Miami fans, heck, Florida State fans, I think you'll find what he has to say about the state of Miami football pretty interesting with 3 games to go in the regular season. We're almost at halftime here on Hacker After Dark. 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. Jaguar fans coming up in less than 20 minutes. JP Shadrick, Jaguars.com, Jaguars Radio. He will join us to take a look back, really on the first half of the season, but certainly on the Raider game. And then obviously take a look ahead. Arrowhead Stadium on Sunday. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, the Kansas City Chiefs. It's early in the week. I'm going back and forth, but why do I get the feeling? And look, I had spicy food tonight, so maybe that's the feeling I got. Maybe it's indigestion in the pit of my stomach. Definitely could be that feeling. But I get the sense that it's something deeper than that.
This was locker room talk.
Yeah, there'll be some locker room festivities going on. I'm imagining it later on in my house after that spicy chicken sandwich that I had. But why do I get the feeling Jacksonville is going to win on Sunday? You guys that have listened to me, you know I'm not an ultra positive guy. By no means am I sunshine and rainbows and ukuleles and marshmallows guy. I've picked Jacksonville to lose much more than I've picked them to win this year. But why do I get the sense on Wednesday evening, going into this game on Sunday, that Jacksonville is going to go to Arrowhead and win? I don't know, man. I've thought it all week. Even going back to the fifth quarter, right after the Raider game, I'm like, I think Jacksonville is going to beat the Chiefs. Go into the bye week 4-6. I'll probably be wrong. I've been wrong many times this year. But the more time goes by and the closer we get to Sunday's kickoff in Arrowhead, feeling's not going away. I think Jacksonville's going to win the game. And we'll talk more about that coming up in just a little bit. JP Shadrick, Jaguars.com. Also coming up in the 9 o'clock hour, my sit down with Marty Lee, the head coach of the First Coast Buccaneers, one of the longest tenured high school football coaches here in the city of Jacksonville. The guy's a Hall of Famer. He's been the head coach at First Coast for, 23, 24 years. He's been with First Coast High School since it opened in 1990. They won their way into the playoffs last week. They go take on Orlando Edgewater on Friday as the state high school football playoffs get underway. So we got a very busy 9 o'clock hour. Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. It is a Wednesday night edition of Hacker After Dark with Dylan Denmark, the hacker Ryan Green with you here on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
It's the cure for waking up from a football hangover.
I thought you held your liquor very well.
Post-game Monday.
Did anyone look at the scoreboard?
Brought to you by Daddy Foods, makers of quality fresh sandwiches and home of the good stuff on 1010XL.
Are you sick and tired of living with constant pain in your knees and back? You know, joint pain doesn't just keep you from doing things that you love. It affects your job, relationships, even simple things like getting dressed. Leon Searcy here. It's time to call QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics uses advanced regenerative medicine to restore and repair damaged tissues, giving you new life. Hips, shoulders, elbows. They can all be treated with natural biologics from your own body. Powerful healing agents, highly concentrated. If you're tired of steroid shots that don't work, or if you're trying to avoid surgery, call QC Kinetics now to schedule your free consultation. Learn about these exciting new cutting-edge treatments for pain caused by arthritis or injury. No drugs, no pain meds, no downtime. This is an all-natural treatment that can get you lasting relief. People here are raving about the results. Call now. Appointments are available for this coming week. Call QC Kinetics 904-274-5522. For locations in Mandarin and Ponte Vedra, 904-274-5522.
Hacker here. Y'all know I like food, and so I love the new Buteco Sports Bar and Grill on Belfort Road. Try some of your lunch and dinner favorites with a Brazilian flair, and bring the whole family to Buteco, your neighborhood bar on Belfort Road.
Drivers and heavy truck mechanics, if you like sports, then you're going to love working at Waste Management.
We have a team atmosphere here where we're looking out for one another. We jump in to help out.
Listen up. WM is now offering a $5,000 new hire bonus to CDL drivers and heavy truck mechanics for jobs at our sites in Jacksonville, Green Cove Springs, Callahan, and St. Augustine.
It's camaraderie. It's everything. I like it.
Steady work, competitive pay, weekly paychecks, opportunities for overtime, paid training, and a generous boot and tool allowance.
Plus, over-the-top benefits like 100% tuition coverage for you and your family, and home every day.
CDL drivers and heavy truck mechanics. Apply online at WM.com/careers. That's WM.com/careers. Search driver and mechanic jobs in Jacksonville, Green Cove Springs, Callahan, and St. Augustine, Florida.
A people first, military friendly, equal opportunity employer.
We are WM.
Run or walk at Mackenzie's Run, Saturday, November 19th to create great futures. Join Boys and Girls Clubs of Northeast Florida for a 5K and 1 mile fun run through the beautiful stadium course at TPC Sawgrass. Register at Mackenzie'sRun.org.
Hey, Hickett here from my friends at Roof It Right. Head over to roofitRightFL.com and check out their warranties. Roof It Right offers the best warranties in the business, and they will be there to stand behind their work should you ever need to make a claim. Listen, folks, if trust is important, trust my friends at Roof It Right. You can schedule a free estimate today at roofitRightFL.com. That's roofitRightFL.com. See why your friends and neighbors say, Roof It Right, so you can sleep at night.
Tom Casey here with Griffin Service. As I look around Jacksonville, I see plumbing that could be held together better by duct tape, electrical work that can double as a shock collar, and AC work I know costs an arm and a leg on your utility bill. Save $1 today, but it costs you $10 down the road. At Griffin, we don't think you want, or maybe even know, you're hiring El Cheapo and cut rate work. So, if you need plumbing, AC, or electrical help, and you want it done right, call GriffinService.com and know you're getting the best.
Golfers, tee it up this fall at Edwin Watts Golf Shops for big savings. Save up to $150 off on Ping G425 woods. Upgrade your gear with discounted Wilson stand and cart golf bags. And stock up on TaylorMade Distance Plus golf balls. Now 2 dozen for $35. Don't miss these items and more happening now at Edwin Watts Golf Shops and get a free custom fitting today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee, or shop us online at worldwidegolfshops.com.
The Marshall Tucker Band, the 50th anniversary tour, Friday, November 18th, the Thrasher Horn Center. The Marshall Tucker Band. They take the highway, celebrating 5 decades. Tickets on sale now at thcenter.org. The Marshall Tucker Band, the 50th anniversary tour.
Get Gators play-by-play on 1010XL. Brought to you by Renewal by Anderson, T-Mobile, and Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
I'm former Pro Bowl offensive lineman Leon Searcy, inviting you to join me weekdays from noon to 1:30 for XL Primetime. Let's have lunch. Lunch with Leon is brought to you by Wingstop, where flavor gets its wings on 1010XL.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. WJXL FM, Jacksonville Beach. It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We're glad you're with us. The FHSAA State High School Football Playoffs begin on Friday, and the First Coast Buccaneers, because of their huge win over Jackson last Friday, they find themselves in the postseason. Marty Lee, the head coach of First Coast, joins us here on 1010XL. Coach, congratulations.
Man, I appreciate it. It was a great football game Friday night. The kids knew what was at stake. We had to win that ball game to have a chance. And mathematically, I didn't think we would get in it, but I knew we had to win to make a shot. Hey, we made it, and we're excited.
Coach, take us to Sunday with the release show that the FHSAA put on. They're going through all the regions, all the brackets. Did you know beforehand, or did you find out with all of us?
No, I found out like the rest of us. I went early that morning, tried to figure it out. I knew we were really, really close. I saw we moved up in max prep, and I knew that gave us a good shot. And, beating a quality team like Jackson, moved us up. We moved up 50 spots by doing that. And so as soon as they announced it, man, my phone was ringing and people were excited, and boy, the kids were excited. And that's what it's all about. It's all about these young men. And so I tell everybody's 0-0 now. And so it's a new season. I have been there and been 10-0, been there 5-5 and won and lost. And I know this, that we're excited about going and playing this ball game. We're a young football team, Hack, really young. And it gives me an extra week of practice. It gives these guys the chance to travel, see what a playoff atmosphere is going to be like, because that place is going to be rocking. I think they're the 38th ranked team in the nation. And somebody said, well, Coach, how you feel about that? I said, hey, let's lace it up. Let's go play football. That's what it's all about. I said, because eventually you're going to have to play them. Might as well play them in round one.
Yeah, the alternative's not playing, so you much rather be playing than be not
No,
playing.
You're exactly right.
And with this new system, Coach, it's kind of like the NCAA tournament on Selection Sunday. Back in the day, you knew if you were a district champion or a runner-up, you were in. You didn't know until Sunday, so I can't even begin to imagine the level of excitement your kids had when they found out.
Oh, it was crazy. I mean, the phone's ringing and people are texting, they're online, and they're putting pictures up. We're going to the playoffs, and I mean, just the excitement. And they're out here right now. We just got through watching film, and you can just listen to them and tell that they're excited about being here. And, and they know it's an opportunity. And that's all you ask for in high school sports is to get that opportunity. You know that from playing over at the Wolfpack. All you want to do is get your chance, get my foot in the door, and we have an opportunity. And the way they did it, it gives some excitement. And, of course, there's some other teams that thought they might be in. And it's the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat, really, what that show does.
Marty Lee, the head coach of the First Coast Buccaneers, they're on their way to the high school playoffs Friday night. Coach, you mentioned Orlando Edgewater, right? That is the opponent. That is, I guess, the 1-8 matchup in that bracket. What do we know about Edgewater?
Well, like we said, they're ranked 38th in the nation. They're a power football team. They're averaging about 40 points a game. They've got an outstanding 5-star running back. Reminds me of Seatric Faison. I called him today, and I said, man, he looks just like you. He's going to be a big back. He's 6'2", about 235, a little miniature version of Derrick Henry, and we're going to have to control him. We're going to have to play good special teams. We're going to have to get our passing game, and our passing game was on Friday night. As Rodney goes, we go, and he did a great job. We've got some good young receivers, and that's the great thing, Hack. We've only got one senior in that group.
Wow.
And so we're excited about that team going in and getting some experience, but boy, they got a good kicking game. I mean, and they're very well coached. I mean, we're going against a very solid opponent this Friday, and it's going to definitely make us a better team for the future. And a lot of people say, well, because it's the last game of the season. But for the young guys, they will benefit, win or lose in this ball game, tremendously by having this extra week. You hear all the time about college teams saying they want that bowl game to get those extra 15 days of practice. Well, that's the same thing this is for us.
I remember 20 years ago at Wolfson, we went to Tallahassee to play Rickards in the playoffs. We lost, but I still remember it like it was yesterday. The bus ride over there, the camaraderie on the way over there. It's us versus them going to another person's house. I mean, that's really what high school playoff football is all about.
Yeah, and Hack, and think about it. Were you a senior or an underclassman?
I was a junior that year.
You was a junior, so that gave you that excitement for next year, didn't it?
It did,
Man,
absolutely.
If we can have a great season, we can come back and do this again, and gave you something to strive for. And that's what a lot of people, high school football is learning experiences. And this is another great learning experience for First Coast, football. And, we've been out. We've been absent since 2015. I know we all got in the COVID year. But now it's back to being regular football, and we're excited about it. And we're going to go and represent Duval. We're going to play hard. And we're going to put the chips on the line and see what happens.
Well, Coach, congratulations. I was thrilled for you when I saw it come out on Sunday morning. First Coast heading to Orlando Friday night for round 1 of the state high school football playoffs. Marty Lee, you're one of our favorites. Coach, go to Orlando and get a victory, and we hope we're talking to you under the Friday night lights this week.
I appreciate you, Hack, and hopefully we'll be on that phone call. If we are, it's going to be a happy phone call. Okay, buddy.
Thank you, Coach.
Man, I appreciate you, Hack.
There you go, Marty Lee at First Coast High School. Always appreciate the conversation with him. Now, Hurricane Nicole, I guess now officially a hurricane, going to make landfall south of us as a Category 1. Obviously, no weatherman here, but just based on what I see, we're getting a lot of rain and whatnot. Has affected the high school football schedule a little bit. Denmark, you're a part of that with your ties to Baldwin. I want to say Mandarin, St. Augustine, and I believe Bishop Kenny are the 4 teams that I know of that have kind of rearranged their schedule. And from a Baldwin perspective, what kind of went into that? Because people see, well, the Storm is going to be in South Carolina on Friday morning. Why do you postpone the game until Saturday? What was the thinking as far as out there at Baldwin for doing that?
Well, number one, if you schedule Friday, we had to make the decision by Tuesday if you're Duval County Public School. So you had to make the decision by Tuesday if you want to play on Friday. Now, if you're screwed and you can't play on Friday, you have to play the game on Monday.
Could you say that on terrestrial radio?
Yes.
Okay, just make it. Please continue.
So it was either play on Friday, you hope you play on Friday, then you play Monday, or you just play on Saturday. And you don't want to wait till next week, and then you lose a day of prep for whoever the team wins. So we just decided to go Saturday, and Palatka has their school was actually a shelter for the hurricane, so it just kind of worked that way. That is best way, and there's no chance of rain. The storm will be gone by Saturday, so that was what Baldwin Palatka chose.
And it's interesting in the playoffs too, because some of our teams are going out to the Panhandle, like Middleburg's going to Pensacola, Creekside's going to Navarre. I mean, they got 4 and 5 hour trips out west down I-10. But you also have a team like First Coast that has to go to Orlando to play Edgewater. And Orlando, they're going to get hit pretty hard with a bunch of rain coming up tonight and tomorrow. So it's kind of scattered all over the place. But to my knowledge, only about 4 teams. Again, Bishop Kenny, I believe St. Augustine, if memory serves,
That's
Mandarin,
correct.
and Baldwin are the 4 teams that have moved their games off of Friday night, either being played Saturday now or in some instances on Monday, which is nuts because then they have to turn around and play on Friday. But an overwhelming majority of teams are going to play on Friday night. Things won't change. That includes Bowles and Episcopal in round 1 of the state playoffs. You will hear that game right here on 1010XL 92.5 FM. And then Bowles and Episcopal go final on Friday night. We will have a round 1 playoff edition of the Friday Night Lights postgame show. So certainly looking forward to that. Win or go home in the high school football postseason, and that begins for a number of area teams on Friday. I also found this out last week. I didn't want to say anything at the time, but I've now seen reports on social media that have thrown it out there, so people are talking about it. A couple of coaches stepping down from jobs here in the area, high school-wise. Damian Springs of Fleming Island, what a great job he did with Fleming Island. Found out last week that he was stepping down. Don't know what's next for Coach Springs, but a terrific job out there with Fleming Island. Also saw the head coach Mike Montemare of Atlantic Coast stepping down there. So 2 good coaches. Hopefully they stay in the area, either getting head coaching jobs, coordinators, whatever. But 2 really good coaches and now 2 job openings in the area at both Fleming Island and Atlantic Coast. So best of luck to those programs and their coaching searches. All right, JP Shadrick, Jaguars.com, Jaguars Radio. He is coming up in less than 10 minutes. We'll also go down to South Florida, check in with my friend David Lake of InsideTheU.com. Boy, for a guy that covers Miami, the Hurricanes on a daily basis, wait till you hear what he told me about his prediction for the last 3 games for Miami. Hurricane fans, you are not going to like it, and you're not going to like the reason as to why he is making those predictions. So we got a busy 9 o'clock hour to go. It is a Wednesday night here in Jacksonville, Florida. Stay safe out there. The weather is bad. It's windy. It's rainy, but it'll be out of here hopefully in the next 24 to 36 hours. With Dylan Denmark, the hacker Ryan Green with you. JP Shadrick, Jaguars.com, next on Hacker After Dark.
It's the one they'll be talking about.
And he's in for the score!
The Performance Painting High Performance Play of the Game.
Did that just happen?
On 1010XL.
I told you and I told you. Touchdown!
Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
Chronic joint pain has a snowball effect. It's not just the pain.
What that did is just make me depressed that I couldn't get back into the gym, and I was inactive, gaining weight. I had to find another alternative.
And for Chad, that alternative was QC Kinetics and the non-surgical natural biologic treatments that can give lasting relief to aching hips, shoulders, knees, and backs.
Once they explained it, it made sense. Putting what we have inside our body back into us in a certain strategic way to heal up in a natural process was fantastic.
QC Kinetics treatments take place right in the office. No downtime, no surgery. And as for the outcome,
I'm just back to bouncing around, having fun, doing my work, living pain-free.
Don't let chronic joint pain rob you of your quality of life. Discover advanced regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics. Call now to learn more. It's a free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 904-274-5522. That's 904-274-5522. 904-274-5522.
The experts at AMCO have been fixing cars for almost 60 years. Over that time, they've gotten more complex than ever. That's why our techs undergo rigorous training and certifications, so they can fix anything, including the most complicated repairs that come with some of the latest technologies. After 60 years, there's nothing we haven't seen or fixed. It's how we know cars inside and out.
Money tight? We can finance almost anybody. Find the AMCO transmissions nearest you at amcojacksonville.com.
What defines a hero? Dedication, loyalty, courage. Every day at AMCO, we serve heroes. For over 60 years, we've repaired and maintained the most critical public service vehicles. From complex transmissions to simple brake jobs with flexible financing and the extra safety precautions we need. The heroes we serve don't all wear uniforms. They're people like you. At AMCO, we're proud to serve all of you. AA MCO.
Family owned and operated in Jacksonville, Orange Park, St. Augustine, and St. Mary's, Georgia.
Need cash for the holidays or to pay off credit cards right now? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. Prosser here. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low rate. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days, and a $50,000 loan will only cost you around $300 a month. Use that money to pay off high-interest credit cards or consolidate other debt or even start a home improvement project. With Loan Pronto, you can access up to 95% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need an appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Do it now before the holidays. Call Loan Pronto at 904-999-1508. 904-999-1508. You could use that extra cash for the holidays, and you can get it with Loan Pronto. Also visit loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Convenience stores are there for a reason, to be convenient. And when you're in a hurry to get to the party, drop into your local Dailies and pick up a cold case of Bud Light. Priced right and always cold. Bud Light in the cooler at your local Dailies convenience store.
There's life before sports injury, and there's life after. You're in pain, and you need answers, fast. Mayo Clinic's orthopedic and sports medicine team will see you same day, no referral necessary. Rest assured, we'll get it right from the start and have you back in action as quick as you can say. Ranked the #1 hospital in Florida for orthopedics. To schedule, visit sportsmedicine.mayoclinic.org.
Men suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, regardless of age or past medical history, you'll see instant results on your first visit at Prime Men's Medical Center. And for unlimited time, your consultation and first treatment are totally free. Call now, 904-664-8217.
It's the blog players put their pads on for.
So we want it, we got to bring it. My thoughts and observations on our home team. That's what I share with you every week on my blog.
Roland Reach Plumbing brings you Hayes Blog on 1010XL.com. This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL. Now, another interview on the Farah and Farah phone line, brought to you by the accident attorneys at Farah and Farah.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. The Jaguars still basking in the glow of their victory over the Las Vegas Raiders, breaking a 5-game losing streak, and preparations underway for a trip to Arrowhead to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. JP Shadrick of Jaguars.com. Of course, you also get him on Jaguars Radio. He's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. JP, how we doing?
Oh, we're doing pretty well, Hacker. I must say, after a winning result, snapping a 5-game losing skid, it wasn't the prettiest. It was a 17-0 deficit. That usually spells doom in this league, but we hung around, found a way, and figured out a way to win a game. And I think that could bode well for the future for this team. Maybe they can build a little something off of that, because if they can come back from that circumstance, I don't know. I don't care who they're playing. That proves that they can do it, at least. So, yeah, everybody's pretty happy around here this week.
JP, there were so many good things that came out of Sunday, but you just mentioned it. All right, the Jaguars are 2-6. They're down 17-0. Davante Adams is going absolutely crazy in the first half. It would have been so easy to mail it in. Today's not our day. More of the same. Any verbiage you want to use. But no, to come back and find a way to win a game like that and to snap a 5-game skid in the process, I just think that speaks volumes to Peterson, the staff, and, boy, the effort the players put forth.
I agree with that. And, I think there's a couple key moments in that, in what we're talking about here, right? It was 17-0. The drive right after that, the Jaguars go down the field, 10 plays, 75 yards. And there's a couple third down conversions on that drive. Trevor used his legs at one point to convert one of those. And they cash it in and get a touchdown. And it could have gotten out of hand at 17-0. They could have, gone 3 and out right there. But they marched down the field and at least kept it within reach and then got to the middle 8 minutes of the game, the final 4 of the first half and the first 4 of the second half, right? So the Raiders kick a field goal, and okay, that's fine. But the Jaguars at the final gun hit a field goal before halftime to keep it within reach in a 10-point game, and then they start the second half with another touchdown drive and another 9-play, 45-yard drive after that kickoff return to really flip the field. So those, for me, were the big moments, was that drive right after 17-0 and then the middle 8 of that half, especially that kickoff return to start the second half in a short field. All of a sudden, it was game on after that. 3-point game, it's a toss-up in the second half, and the defense stood up huge to give the offense a chance to find their feet.
You get JP Shadrick on Jaguars.com. You also hear him here on Jaguars Radio. JP, I don't know about you with the network post game, but when I'm getting ready for the fifth quarter, you start thinking about talking points and narratives. And my narrative going into halftime was, my goodness, the secondary and Mike Caldwell, what are you doing? Davante Adams doing whatever he wants. $146 in the first half and a goose egg, right? In the second half, boy, the adjustment for the defense to completely shut down Davante Adams, tip of the cap to Mike Caldwell and that staff.
He did a good job, kind of doubled him up for the second half there. There were a couple that he dropped. I mean, let's be honest here. A couple hit him in the hands, right? And then Carr missed him on one or two other ones. But, yeah, credit to the Jaguars defense. And, honestly, in the first half, it's not like Tyson Campbell had bad coverage on the touchdown, by the way. I mean, he's in his hip pocket. It's just right over his ear. And a perfect throw and a nice move by Adams to not give it up too early that the ball was in the air coming his way. I thought that was a nice veteran play by the receiver, and that happens in the NFL. But so I don't think, it wasn't like he was running wide open except for that one touchdown in the first half with the fake end around, put it on his hip, and, Cisco slips, and there he goes. He's open by 10 yards. The others, I think, were just really good plays by a wide receiver, and then they made the adjustment. So credit to them, and they had been under the microscope, with those big plays and key moments late in games, and there weren't any of those this week. So that's a fantastic positive development for this Jaguars secondary.
JP, while we're on the defense, let's go to the defensive line. And I mentioned this earlier in the week. It's a good thing, but maybe a bad thing in the same statement. And I love Dawuane Smoot. I love everything Dawuane Smoot brings. He had a huge sack there at the end of the game, 2 sacks on the day. He leads the team with 5. Kudos to Dawuane Smoot. But, JP, is it a problem that that's Dawuane Smoot doing that and not Josh Allen or Trayvon Walker?
I don't know if it's a problem. It's always a good thing when you have at least somebody producing, right? So, okay, that's fine. That's good. But I think you'd love to see a little bit more out of Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker in terms of outside rush. We felt like, I think, that we'd have a little bit more production from the outside on this defense so far. It just hasn't come to fruition, and Josh Allen will be the first to tell you that he needs to do more. He said that last week, in fact. Hey, it's on me. It's really not, no offense to any tackles in the league. It's not anything anybody else is doing. I just need to perform better and find a way to get home with the quarterback and get him on the ground. So that better be the case this week against a guy named Patrick Mahomes. If he stands back there or if he rolls around and does his thing, that can be a problem. So it feels like they are getting some push from the interior, not just Smoot, but Roy Robertson-Harris has a history of doing that so far this year. And just to name a couple guys there, there's a little bit of positivity there in the interior, but they do need some more play. Do you get more Arden Key involved? He's been around the last couple of weeks and making some plays. Do you put Smoot out there maybe a little bit more? Does his percentage of plays go up? I think you can't start making the plays when you're sitting on the sideline if you're Allen and Walker. I think they have to be out there, but you might have to mix in a guy like Smoot just a little bit more because he is getting that production.
JP Shadrick, Jaguars.com. You also hear him all over the Jaguar radio airwaves. To the offense, JP, last time you and I talked was a month ago. We knew Travis Etienne was good then, but in the month since, he's turned into one of the best running backs in the NFL. In fact, he's top 5 in rushing, 680 yards. He's only started, I think, 4 games officially, and he's still a top 5 running back in the NFL right now with rushing yardage, 4 touchdowns in the last 3 games. JP, they got a stud, right? I mean, he is a beast back there.
Seems like it. I mean, he seems like he's finding his way, and obviously I would hope so. I mean, now the question for me, is it sustainable for the long haul at this pace? And how often do they spell him, give him a rest? How much does he need to rest? I mean, we saw him, I think it was in the fourth quarter, they flashed to the screen on CBS on Sunday, and he's over there stretching out his legs, like on the sideline. Well, hey, this is the fourth quarter, man. It's 4-minute drill time. This is the time to be out there if you're the running back. So, and he said that before. He's got to, when he gets fatigued, he's got to have a little more focus. And, there were moments earlier in the season where he would be fatigued and then, fumble the football. So that's something he's working on. He told me that a couple of weeks ago. And I think that'll, as the season goes along, it's his first season in the NFL. I mean, so the pace of play, the length of the season, all that's in play for him this year. And it's something he's really got to learn because he hasn't been out there to play a full season of NFL games yet. So I think once we get to December, we'll have a better idea if he can really power through and finish out the season strong. It's a big ask. But I think they're going to lean on him. I would think this offense probably starts going through him a little bit more, right? Don't have to lean on Trevor to throw it 40 times a game now. Okay, you can get some production from the running game, and they found some things that can work for him, and he's running hard, and you can throw off that. So that opens up some things for the quarterback. And when he's efficient off that running game, okay, here we go. They're moving the ball and getting things done in the red zone, and it's a good thing. But it's a fantastic development for the Jaguars that Etienne is as good, if not better, than advertised.
No doubt about that. And to Trevor Lawrence, you mentioned him. I mean, look, the stats were not eye-popping, right? 235 through the air, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. It wasn't a fantasy football gigantic day, but I thought it might have been maybe his best game of the year. From everything Trevor did, protecting the football. The one play where Denzel Perryman's coming untouched when the Jaguars are backed up on their own goal line, and for Trevor to stand in there and then throw that dime to Marvin Jones for about a 15-yard gain, good gracious, was that a good throw.
It was the best throw of the day. I mean, backed up early fourth quarter, 9 minutes to go, something like that, and that could have been a disaster one way or another, whether it's a sack or a fumble or an interception, pick six, whatever. But he stands in, hands at his face, pressure at his feet, and throws it to the sideline right on the money. That was a big one. I mean, I don't really care about fantasy football, Hacker. I know you probably do. You're playing it. Mike Dempsey has like 50,000 leagues he plays in every year.
Yeah.
But as long as it's efficient and the offense moves and they finish in the red zone somehow, that's the gig right now for the quarterback. That's what you got to do. So the guy missed 1 pass in the second half. I don't know what else you want. I mean, that's about as good of a half of football as you'll find. And, yeah, he's not throwing 60-yard touchdowns yet, but that's okay. They're moving the ball. The offense, the top 10 offense in the NFL right now in terms of stats. They can run the ball in the top 10. I mean, they're doing some things pretty well. It's just a matter of cleaning up those situational things. Third downs, goal to go, obviously. Red zone has not been great. But they're working on it. There's some football left to work on some of these things and try to get it better. And if they get some things better and get some results and steal one in the next couple of weeks against these next 2 opponents, I mean, guess what? The division is still in play too. I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but they just won 1 game. Let's take it 1 week at a time. But if they continue like this offensively and can get a win or two, hey, this thing's far from over.
Final moments here with JP Shadrick, Jaguars.com. You also hear him on Jaguars Radio. JP, I haven't talked to you since the Calvin Ridley trade last week. Obviously, that's a 2023 move, assuming he gets reinstated, like the belief is he will when he applies in February. But what's your mood on that, the mood in the building down there, that there is some help, additional help for Trevor coming next season?
Well, I think it's the mood in the building is, what it is. It's week 10 in this season, right? So the players are like, yeah, that's great. But there's a lot of football left this year. We're still trying to fight and figure it out this season. And that's fine for 2023. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it come off-season program in April. If he's reinstated and on the team, that's great. We're trying to figure out how Trevor's going to throw it to the guys that are on the team right now. So that's the player's perspective. From a front office perspective, I think it's a fantastic idea to go after it. And it sounds like it's something they had talked about for months leading up to it, obviously in the off season and everything. How can they figure this out? How can they find a guy? And it's very expensive to go get a first round receiver who has production, who may not have a lot of mileage on him. Okay, that's tough to find, and you're not risking a whole lot right now in terms of draft compensation. And if he turns out to be good, then you got a bargain with a second-round pick for him. So, okay, then that's good news. You're throwing the ball over the field to him. So I think it's a win-win right now. But let's let it play out in the offseason, and then we'll dig into this a whole lot more, I'm sure, in the offseason program next year.
All right, JP, Sunday, 10 a.m., you guys will hit the air with the Publix tailgate show, kickoff at 1 o'clock between the Jaguars and the Kansas City Chiefs out there at Arrowhead Stadium. It is what it is, right? It's Mahomes, it's Kelsey, it's Andy Reid. The Jaguars are a 10-point dog, although I would remind people the Jaguars went to a monsoon in Philadelphia, an Eagle team that is still undefeated, and played the Eagles a month ago to within 2 minutes at a one-possession game, 29-21. I don't believe the Jaguars will be blown out. They haven't been blown out all year. I think they'll have an opportunity in the fourth quarter. It's a tall ask, don't get me wrong. But what's your thought going into this game?
Far from impossible. I mean, this is doable, I think. I mean, you got to get pressure on the quarterback, certainly from the interior. Don't let him escape outside. That's when things can get weird, obviously, because he can throw off balance 60 yards down the field to a guy running wide open, or he can weave through your defense with his legs and find a way to get 20 yards and move the sticks. And just his off-schedule plays are really killers, and so you got to limit some of that. You got to be sharp in the back end, obviously, and the tight end. I mean, Kelsey is, I think, 7th in the league in receiving yards overall, not just tight ends. I mean, the guy, they're throwing it to him a whole bunch. We have a history around here of having issues with him and other tight ends too. So that's number one. That's the priority is Kelsey, Mahomes. But I think it's doable. They threw the ball 68 times the other night against Tennessee. Didn't have a lot of success through the air. So they're going to throw it. That's what they're going to do. The running backs are there just for show a lot of times. So you better, stand back there and be ready to play the pass, because that's what's going to happen. If they're running the ball, thank you, Andy Reid, because that takes the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands, and I think the Jaguars would love to have that happen. I don't know if that will happen. And I think the Jaguars' offense, the way it's playing right now, they have a chance to do something against the Kansas City defense if they can just slow down the pass rush, obviously, up front. That's a group that can get home on the quarterback. Run the ball pretty well. Keep it close, go to the fourth, and see what happens. Roll the dice, baby. Get out there and go win in Arrowhead. Why not?
We saw Lawrence outduel Justin Herbert in Los Angeles. I'm curious. Trevor Lawrence doesn't play Patrick Mahomes, but that will be the talk coming into this game. Lawrence, how does he match up against another league elite quarterback? We'll see what he can do at Arrowhead on Sunday. You'll hear the game right here on 1010XL with kickoff at 1 o'clock. JP Shadrick, Jaguars.com, and, of course, Jaguars Radio. JP, we'll be listening to you this week, and we'll certainly check you out on the Publix Tailgate Show, 10 a.m. Sunday morning. Thank you, my friend.
Always a pleasure, Hacker. We'll talk to you again soon.
Inspiring a generation of girls to talk sports.
Well, it's the whole reason I got into radio.
And to run the world.
Helmets and Heels.
Driven by Tire Outlet.
And presented by Underwood Jewelers.
We should get together for coffee sometime.
Tuesday nights at 6 on 1010XL.
So I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, Director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 5-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $30,000 a year and right now graduate making over $80,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition and no student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted into the program, your only costs are the books and the course fees, around $700 a year.
Wow, that sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Okay, can I have everybody's attention for just a second?
Morgan's media planning firm just landed a multi-million-dollar client.
Because we won the pitch.
She needs to staff up before trafficking hits a traffic jam.
So we're going to need research, planning, buying, obviously, and probably data analytics.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey there, all you fun-loving sports maniacs, a.k.a. taco lovers. Don here from Taco Lou. I'm quite proud to say that we have the best staff in all of Duval.
Don't you mean Louval?
Say hello to Lizzie.
Hello, Jacksonville.
I suppose I do mean Louval. Say, Liz, what's your favorite cocktail to make?
The Double Barrel Margarita. It's Herradura, Tequila Reposado, orange liqueur, orange juice, and our homemade sour mix. We call it Lou Brew. Give it a good shake and serve.
Well, thanks, Lizzie.
Come in and hang with me at the bar. Taco Lou in Jacksonville Beach.
Get Gators play-by-play on 1010XL.
Gators!
Florida Gators basketball on 1010XL is brought to you by Renewal by Andersen, the official window and door replacement partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
Chump, chump, chump!
On the home of the Florida Gators.
Go Gators!
1010XL.
These fall months are the perfect time to make sure your roof hasn't been damaged after the storm season. Schedule a complimentary roof evaluation with Universal Roof and Contracting. You may qualify for 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months on your roof repair project with a free warranty upgrade for first responders and veterans. This offer expires November 30th and restrictions apply. License number CCC 1330747, CBC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com. If you think selling your home is going to be a problem, well, let me introduce you to the problem solvers. Those are Chad and Sandy Realty, because while others are struggling, they're guaranteeing offers on your home within 72 hours, or they'll sell it for free. Look, there is this implication right now that it's not a good time to sell. The Northeast Association of Realtors recently reporting home sales are down 20%. But Chad and Sandy can get the job done. They guarantee multiple offers on your home in 3 days, or it's sold free. They'll get maximum convenience and maximum sales price when you turn to Chad and Sandy. For Nate and Sharon, things were bad. They were going through a divorce, facing foreclosure. Their home had been on the market for 94 days with another agent, failed to sell. They were out of time and desperate. Hired Chad and Sandy. It was a miracle. The home sold in 3 days at a profit for both. Eternally grateful is an understatement, they say. So call the agents I trust at 904-414-6200. That's Chad and Sandy. Or go to chadandsandy.com. ChadAndSandy.com.
Blackout colon cancer. Hicken here for the Borland Groover Foundation. If you're 45 or older, the ball is in your court to get screened. The key to surviving colon cancer, early detection and prevention. 45 is the new 50. Protect your end zone and get screened for colon cancer now. The Borland Groover Foundation is a nonprofit organization devoted to helping the community and save lives. Visit BorlandGrooverFoundation.com for more.
Florida Gators football on 1010XL is brought to you by Renewal by Andersen Windows and Doors, T-Mobile, and Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
Need your carpets and towel looking great for that special holiday party? Call Zero Res. Zero Res technicians are cleaning freaks. Google it and read more than 5,000 5-star reviews. Zero Res. Spell it forwards or backwards. Zero Res. It's the right way to clean.
Tom Casey here with Griffin Service. As I look around Jacksonville, I see plumbing that can be held together better by duct tape, electrical work that can double as a shock collar, and AC work I know costs an arm and a leg on your utility bill. Save $1 today, but it costs you $10 down the road. At Griffin, we don't think you want, or maybe even know, you're hiring El Cheapo and cut rate work. So, if you need plumbing, AC, or electrical help, and you want it done right, call
GriffinService.com.
and know you're getting the best.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
Fetch the latest Bulldogs news and notes. I'm Andrew Gibson. Catch my Bulldog reports on 1010XL.
Brought to you by Travis Cummings and the Bailey Group. This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We're glad you're with us. Florida State all over Miami this past Saturday, 45-3. We've talked about the Florida State side of things. What does Miami do from here with 3 games remaining on their schedule? With that, let's go to South Florida. David Lake inside the U.com. He's one of our guys down there covering the University of Miami, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. David, how we doing?
Doing well, Ryan. Good to be on with you.
Hey, David, always appreciate the time. All right, the Miami fans I know up here are not happy. What was the reaction? What has been the reaction down there after whatever that was on Saturday night?
Oh, yeah, similar anger. And I think that's justified, losing that type of uncompetitive game from a Miami perspective, against your biggest rival. And, there's definitely elements of the game that is frustrating in terms of seemed at times there was a lack of effort, or a lack of belief or buy-in, however you want to phrase it. I get uncomfortable with using the word quit, but I think we are close to that word, with what we saw just in terms of non-competitiveness happening as that game progressed. So definitely a lot of anger. It was a missed opportunity in terms of it was a sellout crowd and the vibes were good going into the game, but certainly all that was done by halftime.
David, here's a question I've gotten from some Miami fans, and let me pose it to you because I really didn't know what to tell them. Last year was thought to be a very bad year at the University of Miami. That's why they have a new head coach in Mario Cristobal. But even that game against Florida State came down to the fourth quarter. Fast forward to Saturday night with Cristobal there, all the excitement around him coming in. People thought the roster was better coming into this year. And Florida State is like 8 touchdowns better over Miami than they were a year ago. Is that fair to summarize these last 2 games against them in that fashion?
Sure. I mean, look, I do think there's an element of I think Florida State is a better team this year than they were last year. So I think you do got to give some credit to Florida State, as a Miami fan. But in terms of the Miami regression, I mean, there's no doubt that the program for this season has regressed. There's definitely, I think fans want to get caught up in what is the one big thing we can point to that is the reason for this season. And honestly, I don't know what the answer is to that. I think it's everything, quite frankly. I think the coaches have made some mistakes during the course of the season. I think Miami has had really bad injury luck, particularly at quarterback, and that showed on Saturday. Look, there's no excuse for 0 touchdowns in a game in the modern day, but that's the reason why Miami is unable to get anything going on offense right now is the injuries at quarterback and on the offensive line. And then also, too, I think, for the rest of the season, quite frankly, it's about finding out which players on this roster are buying in, who is about this Mario Cristobal life, because the culture, the way Mario wants to run his program is a complete 180 degrees different style than what the Manny Diaz program was about. And I think both ways can win. I'm not saying one way or the other is better, but the players just have to figure out, and the program has to figure out which players are up for this Mario Cristobal way of doing things. Because there's no doubt that right now the big question, I think, in these final 3 games is about the buy-in.
Couple of more for David Lake, InsideTheU.com. Always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. All right, David, 3 games to go. It begins this week with Georgia Tech. Boy, if you want to get to a bowl game, you better win this one, because with Clemson and Pitt on the horizon, it could be a very, very tall order if they let the Yellow Jackets get the victory on Saturday.
No doubt. Miami's got to win some combination of 2 of the next 3 to become bowl eligible. But to be honest with you, I'm skeptical that Miami's going to get there. I know for me, I'm not going to be predicting them to win another game this season. I think in terms of this week against Georgia Tech, they're coming off a big comeback win at Virginia Tech. And Miami, I just have concerns about the buy-in right now with the players and this new regime. Miami, of course, is the better team on paper. But I just need to see if they're still up for this fight, if they're still going to play hard for Mario Cristobal. So to me, that's what these last 3 games are kind of about, honestly, from a Miami perspective, is finding out which players want to be a part of this program and which players just aren't up for a different regime. Manny Diaz did things a lot differently than what Mario is doing now. And if players aren't here for it, nothing wrong with that. That's kind of what the transfer portal is for.
Boy, David, I got to expand on that. That's a pretty interesting statement. So, I mean, if they, you don't want to use the term quit, but if they're not gung-ho on the direction of the program right now, I mean, is that an indictment of Cristobal and his staff that they're not being able to get these players in the right mental frame of mind, or is that an indictment on the players that were brought in by Manny Diaz that just simply don't want to be a part of what Cristobal's doing?
Yeah, and I'm not saying necessarily quit, but, I'm going right up to that line, I guess, in terms of just – and really it's a little bit of both of the points that you're bringing up, and I don't think either side is at fault. Again, Manny Diaz ran a totally different program from Mario Cristobal. I think you can win both ways. But Mario Cristobal runs a very, very, very demanding program. During the week, it's much more physical in practices compared to what Manny Diaz was doing. The strength program, much more demanding than Manny Diaz's strength program. And then the off-field requirements are much more demanding too. So I think if we're pointing to why is the team looking like they're regressing as the season progresses, I think it's just the grind and the demands of this new program. These players aren't used to it. Some of these players aren't up for it. And again, that's fine. That's what the transfer portal's for. And I think Miami fans right now have to embrace the transfer portal, not only with additions, but also just some subtractions as well.
David Lake, InsideTheU.com. David, in our final moments, the thing with Mario Cristobal, and I'm sure you heard this a lot more than we did because your boots on the ground there, great recruiter, bad game day coach. That was at least the MO coming out of Eugene, Oregon, with some of the people you talked to up there. Is that fair? 9 games in, great recruiter, maybe not a great game day coach?
I think that's fair to say right now, sure. Yeah, I think that's perfectly fair. But I would say this, and this is a bit of a spin job, I'll admit. That was the same MO of Butch Davis, right? And I think if Mario can be the evolution of Butch Davis all over again for Miami, I think the entire fan base would take that all over again.
And speaking of the recruiting, obviously what Mario's doing there, absolutely incredible. Kermani McClain, the latest one a couple of weeks ago, the 5-star from Lakeland that certainly surprised a lot of people. I guess my question to you is this. With what happened Saturday night against Florida State, if they don't win another game, as you're saying, or if they beat Georgia Tech and then lose to Clemson and Pitt and don't go to a bowl, any danger that this great class might have some defections at the 11th hour?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that's the million-dollar question. I will say this, they haven't had a decommit since, I believe, February. So they've kept things together so far to this point. I think the one guy to keep an eye on is top 50 quarterback commit Jaden Rashada. Just because, look, we've all followed recruiting. We've all seen these stories before. He lives on the other side of the country. He's from California. So he's a little harder to keep tabs on, with this staff being on the other side of the country. And also, too, Miami's offense isn't producing, and other programs are not going to stop recruiting a talent like that. So I do think Miami will still land a top 10 class. I think potentially top 5 if they keep this class together. But yeah, I do think the recruits so far are understanding this is year 1 of the program. And I think there is somewhat of a grace period in recruiting for year 1 of a staff. Now, next year, the results have to start showing. And if they don't show next year, then next year's class probably going to be a disaster.
David, leave us with this. The on-campus stadium, or at least the new stadium, that would be, a 55,000 seater that we've heard rumblings about, and, finances were at least getting put together. That was the report. Where are we with that, the facilities down there? How does that look in the next couple of years?
Yeah, any type of stadium talk right now is just a pipe dream. I mean, I'm here for the vision and all that stuff, but that's nowhere close to being done. What is close to being done is significantly upgrading the on-campus facilities for the football program. They're working behind the scenes on raising the money for a $150 million facility. It's going to be a massive structure, 6 stories tall, kind of house the football program with everything they need. And I'm expecting that to be officially announced maybe January, February. So that's a huge step as Miami needs to modernize its facilities on campus. And so, yeah, I think that's where the focus is now. Any stadium talk, in my opinion, is it's not going to happen anytime soon. So,
David Lake, InsideTheU.com. David, always appreciate the conversation, man. Thank you very much. We'll probably do it again in a couple of weeks to wrap up the regular season.
Anytime, Ryan.
Oh, there you go. Thank you to David Lake, InsideTheU.com. Certainly an interesting situation down there with Miami. They are just not a very good football team right now. They sit at 4-5. They have Georgia Tech on Saturday. You got to win that game. And then if you do, you got to find a way to win one between Clemson and Pitt, or you're not going to a bowl game, which is certainly not what they had in mind in year number 1 for Mario Cristobal down there in South Florida. Well, that'll just about wrap up what has been a very busy Wednesday night edition of Hacker After Dark. Thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight. We got a lot of people to thank. Again, David Lake, InsideTheU.com. How about my guy Marty Lee, the head coach of First Coast High School? They found a way to get in the postseason. Marty Lee and the Buccaneers will head to Orlando on Friday to take on Edgewater. Best of luck to First Coast in that game in the first round of the FHSAA High School Football State Playoffs. JP Shadrick, Jaguars.com, joined us in hour number 1. Of course, you hear him on Jaguars Radio as well. Jacksonville and Kansas City, Sunday, 1 o'clock. The game will be right here on 1010XL. And speaking of the Jaguars, thank you to Chris Canty from ESPN. Did you hear him earlier? Way back this morning on Get Up, he made the proclamation, I guess, that Justin Fields was the best quarterback drafted in the 2021 draft class. So I tweeted him and I texted him. I had his number, and Chris Canty's a good man. He answered the text. He came on, gave his side of it, and we certainly appreciate that conversation. If you missed it, you can go to 1010XL.com on demand. I don't agree with Chris Canty. I would certainly take Trevor over Justin Fields, but we certainly appreciate him coming on to explain his side of things in that argument.
The last thing you want to be dealing with this holiday season is a septic emergency. Plan ahead and schedule to have your septic tank pumped out now. Our wonderful team at Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services is standing by and ready for your call. We'll get your septic tank pumped out right away, giving you one less thing you have to worry about this holiday season. Check out our reviews online and give us a ring today. 904-862-6769. That's 904-862-6769 or duckduckrooter.com.
Hey Jacksonville, this is Crystal Dial Wilson with Remedy Staffing. If your business is struggling to find employees, you likely know you're not alone. The unprecedented effect of COVID-19 on businesses has left everyone scrambling to find good people. We're proud to say we have helped fill thousands of positions throughout Jacksonville during the pandemic. We're dedicated to bringing great companies and great people together. If your business needs help or if you're looking for a good job, contact us now at remedygoodjobs.com. We want you on our team.
Men, if you're struggling with erectile dysfunction or PE and frustrated taking pills that don't work, Prime Men's Medical Center offers breakthrough medical treatments that effectively treat your problem. 98% of patients experience immediate results during their first office visit. And for a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Rubinsky. The physicians at Prime Men's Medical Center offer the most advanced treatments that eliminate ED and PE. Now men are lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
Guys, to eliminate your frustration in the bedroom, call Prime Men's Medical Center now to take advantage of this exclusive limited-time offer. Your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free, and you'll see instant results right in the office. Call now, 904-664-8217. 904-664-8217. That's 904-664-8217.
Are you sick and tired of living with constant pain in your knees and back? You know, joint pain doesn't just keep you from doing things that you love. It affects your job, relationships, even simple things like getting dressed. Leon Searcy here. It's time to call QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics uses advanced regenerative medicine to restore and repair damaged tissues, giving you new life. Hips, shoulders, elbows. They can all be treated with natural biologics from your own body. Powerful healing agents, highly concentrated. If you're tired of steroid shots that don't work, or if you're trying to avoid surgery, call QC Kinetics now to schedule your free consultation. Learn about these exciting new cutting-edge treatments for pain caused by arthritis or injury. No drugs, no pain meds, no downtime. This is an all-natural treatment that can get you lasting relief. People here are raving about the results. Call now. Appointments are available for this coming week. Call QC Kinetics 904-274-5522. For locations in Mandarin and Ponte Vedra, 904-274-5522.
Need cash for the holidays or to pay off credit cards right now? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. Prosser here. You don't have to